gargoyles. Okay, so basically you only want enough hunts to counter his ghouls. So that's actually another reason why you want to keep a tight eye on him, because if he is massing ghouls, you just mass hunts. If he's teching or whatever, if he's teching, he's obviously not going to mass ghouls, so then you switch to archers. Okay. Now, there's two possible choices for a second hero. You'll see my tech is almost finished. There's two possible choices. One is a keeper, and the other one is a naga. Both of which are obvious for their ability to pick off units, because that's the one problem with this tier 1 army, is you have no way to keep them from running away. In my opinion, I like Keeper more against Fiends, because obviously you can entangle that, and I like Naga more against the Gargoyles. And that's for obvious reasons, because the Naga can use Frost Arrow against Gargoyles, and basically keep them there. Okay, yeah, now what you want to do is as soon as that tree is finished, you want to uproot it and start walking it over. Now, 99% of the time, when you're doing this, you're going to get crepjacked, okay? So you actually want to bring a bunch of wisps down to repair the tree. Even though they're not creepjacking you, you have to basically expect to get creepjacked, because every single undead that sees potm knows you're going to expo. So as soon as you run out of vision of them, they know you're going to start creeping an expo. So, like I said, 90% of the time you're going to get creepjacked as you're creeping this mine, but it's okay. Like, you can expect to get creepjacked, and that's fine. You can defend it fine. If you'll take a look at the mass amounts of units that I have, I mean, I can basically force a fight at that tree and fight him there. But as I said, you do need those wisps repairing it, otherwise you'll lose the tree. So that's a big thing, and if you don't have those wisps there, you will lose your tree and you will lose the game. So, okay, so as soon as you hit tier 2, you throw up your Ancients of Wind. Now, in terms of when you tech to tier 3, it's actually kind of up to you. It's up to the way the game is going. If he's pressuring you really hard, obviously you can't tech to tier 3. If he's not pressuring very hard, you can go tier 3 right after you hit tier 2. The only problem is you do need a bunch of wisps in terms of, because of the amount of upgrades you're going to do. So if you see at my main, I'm actually making more wisps. And that's because that the main damage from this strategy is actually coming from the archers, not from the dots, okay? It's from mass archers. Okay, so basically that upgrade that you're going to get is that tier 3 upgrade for the archers and all the Hunter's Hall upgrades. Another thing, if you'll notice, I just entangled his DK and forced a TP. Since he wasn't pressuring me, I figured he was creeping, okay? And if an undead isn't pressuring your expo, most of them will pressure your expo. But if an undead isn't pressuring your expo, he's going to be creeping somewhere, okay? So I actually figured he was either going to be creeping the shop or the Merc camp. And he was creeping the Merc camp, and he obviously had to TP. That's another thing. If they go Fiends, you want to pick off as many Fiends as you can with that Keeper, because if they do get too many Fiends, it can make for a tough push whenever they're pushing your base. So yeah, basically, if they're pushing you, you want to obviously use the Keeper to defend the push. If they aren't pushing you, you want to go find a fight, and you want to use that level 1 Entangle to its fullest ability, because level 1 Entangle is very imba. It's extremely strong. Okay, what else? You'll see he's going for a mass AoE strat, which is good. I actually talked to him a bit about after this game, and he was wondering how to counter this, and I'm really not sure how to counter it. That's why I do it. I was thinking maybe like a Necro Wagon push, but if someone goes Necro Wagons, I can just switch to Fairy Dragons and get like a Pit Lord or something, and like 3 Fairy Dragons and a Pit Lord will kill every Necro that he has, or a Panda, something like that. So yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure what the best way to beat this strat is. So if any of you guys are listening to this audio and you play Undead and you think you can beat it, then feel free to toss me a PM, and I'd be happy to play against you. Okay, now you'll see I went tier 3. Obviously the biggest upgrade that's extremely important is Cyclone, okay? So as I said, right as soon as you hit tier 2, or right as soon as you hit tier 2, I mean as soon as your Keeper comes out, you want to go looking for a fight. After that, you want to back off and creep your potm to level 3 and basically try and avoid them as much as possible. Just buy heal scrolls. That's the biggest thing about this strat. The reason you need an expo is to support all the amount of heal scrolls that you need. because you do need a ton of heal scrolls with this strategy. But and then as I was saying, after you hit tier 2 and you do that little push with the keeper to try and push to kill as many units as you can, what you want to do is basically wait until you have Cyclone. And you actually want to turn off Fairy Fire. You want to turn it off completely, because all undeads, they abuse Skeleton Wand and they'll bring their ghouls in, and it's just a waste of mana, and they'll cast Fairy Fire on every single unit and they'll use all their mana. You want to use all of the mana on the dots for Cyclone. Now, if you do have good micro and you're used to doing this strat, what you do is you just manually Fairy Fire the units that you're focusing. Like, what I do is I'll Cyclone the DK, manually Fairy Fire the Lich, and Focus Fire the Lich with Entangle. And the Lich drops in like 2 seconds. And you'll see that actually this game. At this point, you'll see my army. I'm about to get Master Dots. You'll see it's halfway done researching. But you do not want to fight until you do have Master Dots, because you will lose. That's all the power in this strat is the fact that you're taking their heroes out of the fight and you're doing a ton of damage with those archers, okay? And in addition to taking their heroes out of the fight, you're forcing them to stay in the fight by cycloning their heroes, because they can't TP when their hero is being cycloned. Okay, now you'll see he actually gets me here, and I see the master upgrade is like 3 seconds from finishing, and he actually caught me at a bad time here. So I just focused down the panda and then focused down the lich, and you'll see how fast those heroes drop. It's extremely fast. The reason I'm focusing those heroes is because I actually didn't want to fight this fight. And by focusing heroes, you can usually force a TP. He'll pass the TP. The reason I focus the panda first is obviously because he does the most damage, and because he can't coil him. And I actually clicked his inventory too, and he didn't have any like healing or invul pots or whatever. So that's another big thing with this strat is you always it's big with hero cycloning and hero focusing, okay? Because you as I said, you can drop a hero in 2 seconds. Another thing I should comment on is the reason I got Dark Ranger. I actually scouted his base from I thought it was from an observatory lab. Maybe it was from a hawk. But anyway, I saw that Temple of the Damned and I actually thought he was going Necros. And Dark Ranger is a really good counter to Necros because I didn't get AoE as a second hero. Because what you can do is you can just silence the Necros and then turn them all into skeletons, and yeah, so that's really good against Necros. But that's really the only reason I got Dark Ranger. But Dark Ranger's good for silence anyway. Yeah, so that's that fight. If you take a look at the food count, it's 57 to 45.